Sorry, I keep forgetting that. So, Mr. Frazier, would you call, please? Do we need to do? Oh, yeah, never mind. I'm having a rough night tonight. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next I need a motion to approve the minutes from previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Second?
Second.
Mr. Sprague? Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes. I'm having, yeah. Okay, I also need an approval for the Board of Education agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Okay, next we have, we don't have anybody from City Council, I don't believe. The public participation section, I have two people that wanted to speak before the board. I believe you've all gotten a copy of the public participation policy, okay? I have Linda Pickett, okay? Would you want to go to the podium? And please state your name and your address.
There you go. Okay. My name is Linda Pickett, 725 Eaton Avenue. I've been a lifelong Hamilton resident, educated here, and now I work here. I am an educational assistant at Bridgeport Elementary in the multiple disabilities room. I've been with the district for 28 years. I love my job, and I appreciate the support that I've gotten in the past, and that's the reason why I'm here tonight, is I need your help. I'm very concerned, and I respectfully come to you, and I hope that I don't get emotional, which happens, because these students are like my kids, and so I get emotional. Just that's my biggest one there. So, but that's why I've come tonight. So I respectfully thank you for listening to my concerns, and hopefully we can work together to come up with some solutions. My concern is for the safety of our students and of our staff. I am the union president for OPSI 151, and I really did not plan on coming here this evening, but after I got a text at about midnight last night, along with a few other phone calls throughout this week, along with another message that I got this morning, I thought, okay, maybe I need to come in and address my concerns. We are severely short-staffed. We currently have 13 open positions for our special ed units. Now, these are our most fragile kids. And we are working, these are some of the educational assistants that just happened to, I called and said, we need to go and we need to share our concerns. But these are all hardworking individuals that are working two people's jobs because most every unit is short-staffed. And it's a concern. It's a huge concern because our kids 28 years ago are not like our kids today. And we need a lot of help. So with these calls and messages, I just want to kind of give you a few examples of what a unit is going through and in their concerns. So I had a member call me up, and she's like, what can we do? I'm at my wit's end. I'm at the short end of the rope, and I'm thinking we're only a week into school, and they're burned out already. We have one unit and it's in my building, I mean, because I can speak more from my building because I obviously live it on a daily basis, but we have one unit that is short-staffed by 2 members, 2 assistants. We have the teacher, we have 1 classroom aide, and then we have 2 one-on-ones. These children are so medically fragile that these one-on-ones should be attending directly to them. However, they're not because of the short staff. These kids are in serious danger because of these children's aggressiveness. I just wanted to share a few pictures to let you see what's going on. Now, these are pictures of not even a week's worth of school and the bruises that our adults are dealing with. And these could easily be the kids if our adults aren't getting in the way of being attacked by a very aggressive group of children for whatever reason, their disabilities, their frustrations. And it's really hard. It's very hard. And I can speak for just my unit. They're considered fully staffed. I've got 1 teacher, there's 3 educational aides, all hardworking, all dedicated, all, experienced people. But out of my 8 kids, I have 7 of them in diapers. I've got 4 that need assistance being fed. I have 1 kindergartner, 5 years old, that weighs 70.
Mrs. Pickett, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just remind you of your time limit.
Okay.
Because you're
Okay.
gone over, but I don't want to cut you off.
Okay,
if
I
you've got
appreciate.
a few more things
Yeah, because
to
I really
say.
hate thinking 3 minutes when this is a huge concern.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
I'll
this is
allow a little bit of levity.
okay.
but
If
you
nothing
need to-
else, my son put in so that he could point out. So we need help. We need to get people in there. It costs a new hire $165 just to be hired because they have to pay. How can we reduce that so that, stretch pay? They basically are making less than $12 an hour because of stretch pay. People don't want to do this.
And I think, we're well aware of the shortage. It's been addressed. Mr. Wright spoke with us even today.
Yes.
About it, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but if we can't have applicants, if applicants aren't applying,
Right.
so
So how do we entice applicants to apply? That's what I'm here for, is to ask for your help. Let's brainstorm. How do we get people involved? Do you guys go door to door and knock and say, hey, are you a stay-at-home mom? How about coming to work for the district? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I just know that it's not safe, and I've got people that are ready to quit. We're going to be even more shorthanded.
and trust me, we realize a very difficult job you do, and we
It
appreciate
is. It
what
is.
you're
And
doing.
I'm not here for that. I truly am not.
I know, and so if you would let us just kind of take it under advisement and continue to work with human resources to see whether there's any way that he can find. I know Mr. Wright has worked very diligently to try and find it. They're just not.
Mr.
out
Wright
there
and I
right
have
now.
talked over
Yeah,
and over
yeah.
again, and
So-
I understand. But is there a way that the district can help these individuals? I have one woman that's
I need
the
to. I
testing.
need to call you on
Okay.
time.
Okay. Well, Brandon, you've got 3 minutes. I don't have anything else written.
Yeah, I got you then.
But
Don't worry.
You need to state your name
Yes,
and address.
Brandon Pickett. I live at 101 Winston Drive.
Okay.
I have worked for this city for 18 years as an educational aide, same as my mother, and I continue to follow in her footsteps for that reason because of how passionate she is about these kids. I chose to do this job because of the kids, not because of what I got paid or anything like that, but the pay is seriously lacking. That's why you're not getting individuals that sign up for this job. Once you do stretch pay, I make $20 an hour, but once I hit stretch pay, I make maybe 15, and I've been doing this job for 18 years. You're going to tell me anywhere else where I go having that much experience, I'm going to get that little of pay? No way. I could walk out of this district quicker than anywhere, making $20+ an hour, working 40 hours a week, no problem, making twice what I make now. But I don't do that job because of that. I do that job because I love these kids and I want to see them achieve things that they don't get to achieve anywhere else. But we do not have the manpower, the strength to cover what we need to give these kids. I work with a medically fragile child one-on-one, and I get pulled constantly because there are not men working in my field to take care of children that need to go to the bathroom, children that need to be taken care of, children that need one-on-one. I'm constantly pulled from my medical fragile child to help other people do their job. That's not fair. That's not fair to any child in the district. I'm sorry, most of you, I'm assuming, are parents. Would you want your child sitting in a classroom, medically fragile, having that one assistant there to protect them, pulled away because there is no one else to do that job? Think that yourself. That's what we're talking about, folks. We're talking about we are taking the most medically fragile, the most sensitive kids, and we're taking away their help. That's what we're here to talk to you guys about. We need to figure out how to get the help. I don't know what we do. I don't know how we do that, but we have got to get out there. We have got to push for these people to get into these roles. There are tons of people out there, I'm sure, but the pay is our biggest problem. We have great benefits. We have great health insurance. A lot of that isn't pushed. We need to push that. We need to let them know what the positives are of doing this role, but we also need to work on the description of what their role entails. Our rules and guidelines that we're given are way too vague on what we might do on a day, which is way too much because the people, as soon as they walk in, are turning around going, I can't handle this because it's too much because they weren't told ahead of time. We need to change that job description. We need to give them more information on what they're going to be taking on a day-to-day basis. They need to let them know that these children are sensitive. We need to let them know that they do have anger issues. We need to let them know that there are issues for these children, and we need to support these people in these roles. There's not a lot of support for us. Our ISs support us as much as possible. Their bosses support us as much as possible. But that's the problem. There's not a lot of support for us. There's no training. There's squat for us. Oh, you'll learn on the job. That's not helping us. I've done this for 18 years. I would love to have more training. Our PD days, I'm sorry, stink. There's nothing for us. We get forgotten. We are the forgotten class in schools.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
You're fine.
That's my boy.
Again, I appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming here. We will chat about it, and then Mr. Wright will get back with you. It won't be immediately, but
understand.
again, please be aware that they're working very hard to try and find someone or some people for these jobs. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to add to that? Mike,
I'd like to add something. You know, I've been doing this 33 years. I have never seen a point in my career where we have as difficult time attracting EAs, bus drivers, teachers, all the way across the continuum. And it isn't just Hamilton, and it isn't just education. I will promise you, we are working as hard as we can. We know that we have some vacancies out there. And there are times when we think we have someone hired, and they don't show up. And so I don't know necessarily what the answers are with that. I can tell you we're going to continue to work diligently to find qualified people. And I have notated the PD piece.
Yes,
I
please.
do think that there's some merit to doing that, but I don't think an EAPD is an EAPD is an EAPD.
Correct.
You know, they're very specific depending on the role that you have in
Yes.
that particular job. And
We
so,
understand that.
And so all of those things, we're going to continue to work hard with you, Linda, and Brandon, and we're going to do the best we can with that. And you know, it's a tough situation. And like I said,
Yes.
it's as tough as it's been in my career. And so work with us on this.
Yes.
We're open to input. We're open to suggestions. Not everything we can do.
Correct.
But just know that we're not here to be adversarial with it at all. We're here to work on finding a good solution that.
That's why we're here.
So.
We're here just to
I wanna
support
make
you as
sure
much
that
as you
you're
support
aware of
us.
that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump back on the agenda a little bit because we do have a representative from City Council. Would Vice Mayor Ryan?
Good evening. It's really nice to see everybody. I hope everybody had a great summer. I saw a lot of you guys were taking nice vacations, so hopefully everybody's doing great and and healthy and had a great summer. So so happy to be back. Just a few short items, and I really appreciate you.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Thank Will be as brief as I can. So, as you know, we have 2 surveys out right now, the Plan Hamilton survey and then the short-term rental survey. We would really, really appreciate your feedback on that. The Plan Hamilton survey is critically important to council. We just want you to tell us where you want us to take the city in the next 10 years. And those results, council will look at those results. We'll have a planning session, and then we'll focus on what is most important to you. If it's more streets, if it's more emphasis on, police matters in the neighborhoods, or more kid-friendly activities in the city, tell us. And it's that data is critically important for us to move forward. So same thing with the short-term rental survey. That's been getting some attention, and I'm sure some of the folks in Highland Park are definitely being vocal. We're going to be receptive to that. So we're going to take a look at some of that and just make sure we're doing what we need to do to protect the integrity of the neighborhood, but also make sure investors are following the rules and from there. So that being said, thank you to the athletic directors for putting on a great game. It was really nice to see both schools come together in the end. The city won. So really appreciate everyone's hard work. Mike, I know you did a lot of pushing on that, so really appreciate your work on that. It was greatly appreciated. So looking ahead, maybe the next 60 days or so, we should have some pretty significant announcements coming on down the pipeline, especially some new businesses coming up on Main Street. So the fall is looking good. The end of the year is looking strong. And as always, I'm greatly thankful for our relationship. I know each and every one of you on a personal level, and it's just been really nice to come in here and talk and work with you nice folks outside the building here. So really appreciate the relationships that we have, and I'm here to work with you, and anything anyone ever needs, I'm just a phone call away. So with that, wish everyone a good summer. And
Yeah, well, we appreciate you too. Lauren?
Michael, is there still a town hall meeting on Monday
oh,
night?
I was just looking at that. There it is. Yes,
I just-
North Hamilton Crossing, 5:30 on Monday.
Oh, okay.
It's town hall. Yes, at Miami. Yep. That will be question and answer. So I'm glad we're doing that. We should have done that the first time. That was going to clear up a lot of confusion. We should know by the end of the year what path we're really going to focus on. So we're going to do the best we can. But I will tell you from council standpoint, we will only pick a route that has the least amount of displacement on the neighborhood. Okay? So we're going to do everything we can, but please come Monday, 5:30 at Miami Hamilton.
And I just wanted to say thanks to you all for that game last week, and especially recognize the athletic directors of both schools. They worked really hard too, along with
Yeah.
Mike. So, and you're right, it was a big win for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Not necessarily our football team,
Right.
but for the city.
Yeah,
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Next, Mr. Holbrook.
Yes, continuing with that theme, I do want to thank our partners in education, Hamilton-Baden, for a tremendous community event with the first football game in over 20 years between Hamilton High and Baden. Though all Big Blue fans were hopeful for a different outcome, itself galvanized the city. From the pep rally at Markham Park to the activities at our local restaurants during game day. I also want to publicly thank all the district staff and volunteers. Without each of you, we could not have accomplished putting on such a huge event. And finally, I want to recognize the work of our athletic department, Missy Harvey, Mike Dole, Jamie Cox, along with Hamilton High School Principal John Zary. They were all extremely inspirational and in their efforts and preparation, and it was a job very well done. I think, once again, someone said it earlier, it was a win for the city. And so we were really happy with how that event turned out. As you know, we are off and running with the 23-24 school year. We started with our staggered start, and we've done that over the past several years, and it's been a huge success. We've been able to integrate kids at various grade levels at a pace in which we can build relationships, especially those that are changing buildings, our first-time kindergartners, our first-time seventh graders going to the junior highs, our first-time students going to the freshman building and to the high school. Those are kids that are changing buildings, and having that staggered start helps us in having them have a comfort level before everybody gets there, and that's been successful. I also am pleased in the process we're making with our growth and achievement data with our students. Though we have room to improve, the results that we showed earlier in our presentation reinforces that we are making moves in a very positive direction. And that is a compliment to every single adult working with kids in this district. In addition to the academic and achievement growth, we're excited to continue the district's longstanding initiative on character education. And what we've done with that program, we've engulfed it into our PBIS programming. And that's our positive behavior support. So no longer is it just a standalone program. It's ingrained in everything we do every day. And that gives us even more significant results than just a standalone program. We took a solid approach. And by integrating it into our PBIS programming, it's real live implementation, and it's benefited kids, behaviorally as well as academically. And finally, I want to speak on behalf of the entire district about the excitement that we have as we start the school year. There's always an excitement to the school year, and that first week's usually at the end of the week, you're going, oh my goodness, I made it through the first week. And here we had one of the biggest events we've had in 20 years. I didn't see anyone dragging. People were excited to be at the game. They were, quote, volunteering their time to be there. But, we had 80 to 100 just at the entranceways as people came in. And I can't tell you the compliments that I received on. People were friendly. People were receptive. They answered my questions. And that's a positive for the district. And so, I'm grateful just to be a small part of it, but we have a lot to be grateful for, and we have a lot to look forward to as we start the 23-24 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Holbrook. Any comments? Okay. Let's see, get my glasses on so I see where we are. Okay, we have board policies, several board policies that were sent to you all for review prior to this. So I need a motion to accept those policies for approval.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Lauren and Shaq. Any other discussion? Frazier?
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgrove?
Yes.
Okay, next we have the Civil Service Commission. We've been working on this for, since summertime, so there's a board resolution out there for civil service that I need an approval or a motion to approve.
I'd make a motion that we adopt the.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Isgrove. Further discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgrove?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Next, for approval, I need a motion to accept the human resources.
So moved.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgrove?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Next, we have the business operations items for approval. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgrove?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Abstain. Next up, I have approval for special education items. I need a motion to approve. Thank you.
Second.
Matthews. Any further discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson? Mrs. Baker?
Abstain. Next, we have the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Any further discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague? Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson? Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Okay, next is finance agenda. Mr. Frazier?
Thank you, President Baker. We have several items for approval tonight. We have the normal financial reports from the Treasurer's Office, which include the cash position report and the cash flow analysis. We have an item on here for advances, which this just allows us to make entries for the advances from last year to repay the general fund for entries made in FY to keep us in compliance. We also have two purchasing program resolutions. And this is for TIPS and for OPC. And what this does is this allows these two items, they allow us to be a part of these purchasing co-ops that have pre-negotiated pricing for purchases that the district makes. So these co-ops, they save us both time and money. So we don't have to go out and, bid out 3 different items for a particular purchase. They've already been pre-negotiated, and they are not generally, but pretty much always lower than we could get on the market anyway. So that's those 2 items. We have a compliance item for commercial paper. A relatively new ORC section 135.142C requires the treasurer to submit an annual report to the board for approval for investment purchases, sales, and income earned in the preceding year. And that report is on the finance agenda. So that is out there. We have 3 confirming purchase requisitions, and we have 4 donations totaling $3,750 up for your approval tonight. And that's the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. I need a motion to approve the treasurer's
I'll make that
report.
motion.
Thank you, Mr. Isgro.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Any discussion? Mr. Frazier?
Mr. Sprague? Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Isgro?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our business portion for this evening. Our next meeting will be Thursday, September 14th, beginning at 4 o'clock, which will be an executive session here at the board office. So that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.